synthesizers, groove boxes. Visit Patchworks in Seattle and online at patchworks.com.
Hey, how's it going? This is Matthew from Patchworks, back with another episode of Patchworks Live. We're back at it, folks. Doing live streams from the Synth Shop, the coolest place in Seattle. If you're not familiar with Patchworks, we are a synth shop in Seattle. We have everything you could ever want in terms of synthesizers, drum machines, MIDI controllers, lots of audio recording gear, speakers, and a plethora of Euro rack for you to come and check out. So I invite you to come on down to Stoneway here in Ballard and visit Patchworks. We'd love to see you. Today, what I want to talk about is this little controller. This cute little controller here by Noise Machine. And it's called this.is.NOISE NVMe Bluetooth MIDI Controller. You've probably seen it around a little bit. It was popping up on my feeds in socials, and we now carry it here at Patchworks, and I was excited to check it out because I love the idea of small and portable MIDI controllers. And this kind of acts like an MPD 218, albeit doesn't have the velocity sensitivity you would find in a drum controller. But it is something that's more fun to push because these buttons, they are buttons. And pushing a button does feel better to me than hitting a flat screen on my phone when it comes to playing with music apps on my phone or on an iPad. I'm just like, this is okay, but this is better. And we also have a control here which will move it up in octaves, which is actually taking it out of the pads because the pads are separated these by octaves. So I don't have enough pads to show off the octaves for this particular app. So right now I have this connected wirelessly into my iPhone. You can do iPhone or Android. And this is Ableton Note. And Ableton Note is kind of this small version of Ableton, though it has a robust sound engine and robust sampling capabilities. You can actually start your projects in Ableton Note, and then it will wirelessly sync your projects to Ableton as well. So when you're done here, you can go to Ableton and just open up what you started on your phone. And so this becomes another layer to this. So now I have a controller that I can play with, that I can actually play with in my hand like this, and put this down on the desk and kind of and play around with this controller. And there's some other apps that will allow you to MIDI map these controls as well, and that's actually what we're going to check out next. But I thought that it would be cool just to show off that this controller, being, very portable, powers over USB-C, so there's no like little watch batteries or anything inside here. There's a lithium-ion battery that's a rechargeable battery. The battery lasts a very long time, and it's so easy to set up. So to actually set it up, when you turn it off and turn it back on, you'll see this green light flash or turn on. This blue light won't be there yet because this is connected. It's going to prompt you, and what's happening is it's going to prompt you to pick a MIDI channel. So you just select one of the buttons, and these represent MIDI channels here. So I hit button 1 when I started it up, and then it set the this.is.NOISE, the noise machine here, to MIDI channel 1. And then with MIDI channel 1, let me actually just make it, how do I do that? Make it so my phone is completely disconnected from the universe. Here we go. Boop. No, we don't need any more of those messages coming through. So now you can have it set to MIDI channel 1, and then I can turn my app to whatever MIDI channel I have selected on my Bluetooth MIDI controller, which I think is really cool and a lot of fun to use. And I got it going so quickly, and of course it's always cool to watch in Ableton Note how it does this with the MIDI notes, and they just kind of vanish away. But you can also just hit the capture button and, unquantized, albeit. But awesome. Ableton Note's a really fun app, and this being an extension of that app is just really cool. So this was the first thing I tried with it. Now we're going to move over to Koala Sampler, which is, if you're familiar with this thing at all before seeing this on this short stream that I'm doing, you may have seen it paired with Koala Sampler, which is what they use to advertise this little MIDI controller. So that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to show you MIDI mapping with it. So let's go out of here, and we'll pull up Koala. Let me make sure that I've quit out of Ableton Note so that we don't trigger that. And here we are over in Koala Sampler.
Bruh.
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 It's already got some funny samples in it. So right now, the way it defaults, I know some of the buttons aren't pressing anything, but that's because some of those slots don't have samples in it. This top row is playing the bottom row here. And what you can do, and this again will move through octaves. That's naturally the setting for this little slider. And I do love that it has both a crossfader. Like, I'm sure I could find a way to map this so that in the center it's like between two mixes in maybe a different app. And I could crossfade between them, which I think would be really fun. I could even do that live. But for now, I'll leave it on the left side. And this is just going to be bringing us down to the lowest octave using the noise machine. And that's what we want to play Koala. But if we want to really get some hands-on control with Koala, we could just add some more sounds to it too. Like just throw like something like that. Or no, now I'm currently I'm connected to my Go mixer over here, and I don't have a microphone in the Go mixer. So I'm not going to be able to sample into Koala at the moment. So we'll be kind of limited to the sounds that I already have in here. But what I can do to make this convenient is, okay, so this is actually a really great point. So I already have these in here, and I'm not able to sample at the moment for this demonstration, but I'll show you MIDI mapping, which is actually how I'm going to be able to map all these controls to separate things. So if I go into Koala and we go into our settings here, and this is where you would set it up. So if you were to set this up, you would go into MIDI and you would go down to Bluetooth MIDI connect, and you would select the controller right here, NMSVE. That is the noise machine. And then we go done. You can see the other stuff that I've played with on here. And then you can set up how the pads work, if the pads can initiate recordings, which would be important to know. And then you set the MIDI channel. Like I said before, we set the MIDI channel to the first pad, which was MIDI channel 1, and I have this selected on MIDI channel 1. It's really that simple to get going, and it just works right away. But if we go into MIDI mapping, then all of these pads, they don't have any association any longer. So let me go back over here. Hold on here. While we're in MIDI mapping, so I'll go map MIDI, and now you can see that's in this strange mode with these green outlines. Now I can say, all right, I want this pad to play this sample. So I go like this, and I hit this pad. Cool. And maybe I want this pad to play this sample. So I go like this, and hit this one, so on and so forth. And I'll just do this really quickly and get these samples all in here. And lastly, and then we can go over to another section, like the perform section, and take like the comb filter, map it to this right here. And maybe we could take, I don't know, I can't read what the other one is. We could take the pitch and map it to this. Oh, that's not letting me. It's a defaulted to the octave, I guess. All right, so we stop mapping, go back over here. And there we go, right?
Visually easy to see.
It's just a lot of fun. So I just think it's, it's fun to have like in your bag or something. I actually have this running into my modular system. Check this out. So the whole modular system's over here. This is all going in there, and what I was playing with was grabbing sounds from this other app, which I'm going to show you in a bit, because there's a bunch of great apps that I use on my phone, and I use them mostly to sample into other pieces of kit, but using this thing kind of lets me use my phone as a groove box, which I think is pretty cool. So if you're sitting on the bus, this is something you could just pull your phone out, grab it, turn it on. Both, battery life on phones and on this thing is very long, so it'll last you a full bus ride if you're sitting in the back seat or something, or just chilling. Like, it's just a good time to make music anywhere, anytime, and this is going to enable you to do that in a more functional way as opposed to, sitting on your phone a little bit longer, which I'm trying to avoid myself. So this kind of feels like I'm getting off my phone, even though I am still using my phone. But I do like that. So I'm going to go back over to this MIDI map here because I feel like one of the mappings didn't happen, and I want it to be the comb filter and this control. There we go. Okay, now I'm stop mapping, and now we can go. Check that out.
I don't give a shit.
Bruh. Let's actually see if we can map this fader one more time. I want to know if it works. So let's go pitch and just, come on. No? Or can I do multiple mappings? We'll go to 2 things? No? Okay. I mean, it's a pretty goofy sequence I have going on right now because it's just a bunch of mouth noises into Koala Sampler, and then I'm changing the pitch. But you can see where you could have a lot of fun with this, and you could actually take it pretty seriously and make a nice beat on here that you programmed with this little controller, which is just super cool to have in general. This is like one of those desktop devices where it's just great to have on your desk and then just already have it pre-mapped to something. You can map it to your computer too. Like, this works with any piece of kit, but I mean, it's wild that you could have it in your pocket or in your bag. All right, so we've had some fun with Koala Sampler. We've checked out Ableton Link with this, which is where you could use it in a what I would consider even a more professional sense or a more producer sense. And the last one is my favorite app on all of iOS devices, and this is Fractal Bits. Let me get it in the right octave range. There we go. So this app is bananas. This is the coolest by far. It's all this bruh type beat. Yeah. This is by far my favorite iOS app because it has like basically an infinite amount of sounds. It's just like a little sound designer's dream. If you just needed samples, like percussion samples or just like some weird synth samples, honestly, if you're like into techno, this app is a dream. So you can just select, like, I can type in anything. This is a sample bank, a random sample bank, because it has a billion of them. It's using this to generate it. I would get the same generated sounds with this code every time, and I just randomly input it, and bam. So now I can play it here, but if I go into this app and select keyboard height to 3 octaves and go out, now I have way more sample sounds, or just more sounds in general. Let's see if we just load up another. But I'm able to use this to play all those all those sounds. They're not samples. And you can transpose or make them wide or add reverb. Overdrive them. Listen to that. But it's just an exploratory type app, and this is really fun to play with it. This is one of those things you can save all these sounds, and you can save these little beats. You can record like a little beat and save it on your phone. You can actually import it into Ableton Note, and then import that into Ableton, and then put it into a production, and have performed it all on this little this.is.NOISE MIDI controller. which is just another, like I said, a fascinating and fun device. I don't even know how they managed to build this thing because it's kind of wild. It's got these little jumpers here, which I'm not sure what they do, to be honest, but I imagine they do something. Maybe they can connect to other things that they're coming out with in the future. I don't know, but it's built really well. It's a very attractive little device and a whole lot of fun. And that's really what I wanted to show off today, was this great little MIDI controller and how we can do music production using our phone. Although we didn't like make a music production, I'm just showing you generally how you get this thing going with these other devices. I guess I can also point out that like when you're setting it up here, you can go into your MIDI input section, and this is where you select how this works. Right now we're set on Bluetooth. This works over Bluetooth, but it also works over USB. It's because it uses USB-C. And you just select the controller that you want. It is the only thing that popped up under Bluetooth, which makes sense because that's the only thing I'm listening to on Bluetooth. And bam, it just works. I didn't have to go into a manual to learn how to use this thing at all. I didn't look at the manual. I just turned it on. I hit the button. I kind of just knew what it was happening at first because I knew it needed to select a MIDI channel. And I switched over to that MIDI channel and bam, just worked right off the bat. So pretty impressive that it's not a convoluted workflow to get something so small working. It just does what it's supposed to do. It does exactly what you want it to do, which is play whatever controller you have mapped to this, adjust the octaves of these pads with this, and then play your pads and just have a good time. So one of the things I do want to talk about is Patchworks events. What's the event that's coming up?
We have a intro to live visuals on Saturday, September 9th.
We have intro to live visuals coming up this Saturday, September 9th. How much is that going to be?
That's a great question. I think it's a sliding scale workshop.
This is going to be a workshop. So if you're interested in getting into visuals, coming down to Patchworks on Stone Way here is we have events all the time, full of educational events. Sometimes it's just music, maybe it'll be a sound bath or what we call showroom sessions where we show off local artists and sometimes artists that have come in from out of town as well. Modular synthesis, groove boxes, drum machines. This one is going to be teaching people how to do live visuals. So like visual coding, may it be with Gem or Hydra or what are they using in particular for this one?
It looks like they're going to be using various hardware.
Oh, cool.
Video mixers, processors, video synthesizers, video feedback.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really cool event.
That's
no
right.
knowledge necessary either. It's
great
for beginners.
Cool. So it's going to be using a lot of hardware to do video synthesis and or just visuals in general. Maybe we'll do some like video feedback or something like that. Some really fun techniques. Video synthesis and just video techniques for live video is a lot of fun, and you're going to be hard pressed to find people that can talk to you about it or teach you about it. So this is going to be a really good event for those who want to get into it, because frankly, I only know a few visualists and they're like gold. If you're a live performer, like you find a visualist and you're like, hey, please come and be a visualist at my show, because musicians, honestly, there's, we're a dime a dozen. We love to make music, but visualists, it's a specialty to do visuals. So become one of those, gold members and become a visualist. And this is a great place to learn right here at Patchworks. So it's a sliding scale price. I think it's
$40 per person.
It's $40 for the event, but on a sliding scale. So if that's something that you can't swing, we'll work with you and get you into the event. But I'm Matthew from Patchworks, and very excited to share this cute MIDI controller with you that we now carry here. It's a beautiful little device, and I think I'll snag one for myself and just keep it in my bag for whenever I want to jam on Ableton Note and get some bangers into the push 3 or something like that. But that's gonna be it for me. I'll see y'all next week on Patchworks Live. Thanks for hanging out.